Do you guys remember when Tucker Carlson was called a racist for saying that they were bringing in lots of illegal immigrants to replace Americans because Americans aren't reproducing? Yeah, they called him a racist and a white supremacist and claimed that this was part of the Great Replacement theory. Tucker Carlson, to the best of my recollection, never mentioned anything about white. It was just Americans. But they wanted to call him a racist. Well, here is a video of Chuck Schumer saying exactly what Tucker Carlson said. Take a look.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
Ah, yes, we're not reproducing enough, so here you go. Do you guys know why we're not reproducing enough? In my opinion, there's been a couple of things really play into this. You know, the whole telling people they can have their career and their family. You know, telling young women, prioritize your career first. Get your career going. Get it going. You can have kids in your 30s. Well, surprise, surprise, the dating world, and you can find examples of this everywhere, is not easy for women over 30. And I sympathize. I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying the way that things work, it doesn't end up going so well for them. And the birth rate is actually very far down. I think the replacement rate is, what is it? Is it 1.85 or 2.1? I don't remember. But right now, I believe that among Democrats, it's something like 1.6 or 1.4, and Republicans, it's 1.6 or 1.8. It's barely reaching replacement rate on the Republican side, and it's not on the Democrat side, which is very interesting. I'm doing my part, by the way. I've got a daughter, and I've got there's plans in the works for another one or two to come along. But this is crazy. You know, they say it now. They want the illegals. They want, and he even said 11 million or however many there are. He knows full well that there's over 20 million illegals that came in under the Biden administration. He knows it. But they did it on purpose. Well, number one, they need the workers to keep their wonderful country that's being supported by the Federal Reserve. And at any rate, that's a different conversation. But they want the cheap laborers to keep the country going because Americans aren't reproducing, and they want that vote. They know that if they bring in these millions and millions of illegals that are only here because they are allowed by the Democrat Party, they're going to get Democratic votes. It's a fairly simple calculation. Look, people need to prioritize family. I believe that. People need to understand that, you know, later in life, it's not easy when you're by yourself. They need to understand, you know, how family networks work together. I work in healthcare. Okay, I go every day. I go to people's houses and I see the way that their lives are when they're alone and when they have families. And let me tell you, you want to have kids. You want to have kids that are close by and several options so that the stress of, you know, helping take care of you doesn't fall on one person. Having children and, you know, treating them right and raising them right makes your later years that much better. I can't tell you how many 70 and 80-year-olds who've estranged their one child or don't have kids, or their kids have, you know, moved out of state and, you know, aren't close to them, and that, you know, they only have 2 or 3, so they're I mean, this is a crisis for a lot of people. They're having to scrape by on next to nothing, spending all of the money that they have on a home health aide to come in and help them shower, or the state is providing an aide that can come by 10 hours a week and, you know, clean up their house, run their errands, and the rest of the time they're alone. You want to have kids. I promise you, you want to have kids. That's all.